So welcome back to 3D Sportscast, and we just did our in our last video did our playoff prediction reaction midway through the season. If you guys want to go check that video out, but this one we're gonna kind of talk more about our teams who have had great seasons, and with talking about the prediction, I want to kind of break down kind of what the expectations were for our teams going in and where we are now. So I'll start with the Bills. Let's just go back to last year. You know, the narrative is we can't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, which so far we haven't. The Chiefs have won.
Which has been true so far.
It's mainly
But
Josh Allen can't beat him, but
which is that's false, which we kind of talked about in the last video. So what did we do? We traded away our best wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, to the Houston Texans. Everyone acted like that was well, yeah. I'll get to that. Everyone, which is kind of it's not funny to see someone get hurt, but it is kind of funny as a Bills fan. So everyone acts like that was a big loss. Now, not only did we lose him, we lost Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, our safety duo. We lost Gabe Davis, our other receiver. Who else did we lose? Well, we did lose Matt Milano, which he should be coming back towards the end of the season from injury, but lost him preseason. And due to all that, Davis White too. That was the other one, one of our corners. So due to that, in the media, everyone's like, the Bills lost too much. They're not gonna be good.
Like they were almost saying that the Bills might not even make the wild card.
Yes, exactly.
Which is insane.
like the Jets are gonna be the best team.
Which I'll get to them too. Yeah, no, you're fine. But first of all, those guys that I mentioned, I want to, ask you guys and I want you guys to think about what have they done on their new teams. Diggs has probably been the most productive, but like you just said, he's now out for the season. Jordan Porter is now with the Dolphins, has not done great.
I mean, Gabe Davis is on the Jaguars.
Gabe Davis is on the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Mitch Morse, our center, is also on the Jaguars. They haven't been great. Tre'Davious White is on the Rams. Now the Rams, we've talked about having been great, but we got rid of him because he was also injury prone. And I've seen him get burnt a couple times this year. So really. And Micah Hyde, I don't think is even. I think he's still free agent. I don't think he's anywhere.
He's playing anywhere.
So
Nothing.
What move wasn't good?
So and then we got younger, and we got our draft looked great. Keon Coleman is really coming to his own. We traded for Amari Cooper, who we'll see what he does. Yeah, we just did that.
He wait a couple weeks for him to
exactly.
learn the offense.
But since we got Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman has actually looked phenomenal for us, the rookie. Ray Davis, the game that Cook got hurt, stepped in at running back, looked great against the Jets. Carter? I'm trying to think of his name. But our defensive tackle that we drafted, when Ed Oliver was hurt, he looked good. Now, I think he got hurt, but he may be back. So looked great as a rookie.
Yeah.
So then what did I say in the preseason when we did those predictions? I said the Bills, I think a lot of people have low expectations, not only because of what we lost, but just because the names. There's names that we lost that people kind of know from our team, but we have the same amount of talent. It's just you haven't heard the names yet.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's the Bills. But also I think another reason why not only did we lose a lot, but so many people were so high on the Dolphins and the Jets. Let's start.
So bad.
So let's start with the Jets. The Jets, first of all, Aaron Rodgers. They got him last year. He didn't play all year because he got hurt right away.
Yep, after 4 plays.
And so they expected him to come back from that injury.
A Tom Brady,
exactly, which is unreal. We've talked about them before. Unrealistic expectations.
You can't compare yourself to the GOAT.
So they expected him to do that. I mean, mind you, they got some good young talent. They got Breece Hall. They got Garrett Wilson. They had a fantastic defense. But
their defense is now not good somehow. I don't know what they did there.
They put too much in the basket of Aaron Rodgers.
Way too much. Well, and they've given him too much control. They fired their head coach.
That's it.
Who last year wasn't bad.
And who also was a defensive-minded guy, and since he left, they haven't won a game. Their defense does not look good. They traded for Devontae Adams, which I know some people thought, since with the past connection of Rodgers and Adams, that'd be good. But here's the thing.
Well, now there's rumors that they're going to trade him again before the deadline,
which is insane. Which the funny thing is, he went from a bad situation to Raiders to even almost a worse situation with the Jets. Which is funny is
they have the same record.
When they had their last year in Green Bay was 3 years ago. Rodgers was pre-injury. He was still good. I mean, Devontae Adams isn't young either. so there's that.
I mean, Devontae Adams is old enough where he is a lock for the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Like, that's how old he is.
So I want to say this with the Jets. They did what Green Bay wouldn't do. Remember the last couple of years at Green Bay?
Yeah,
Rodgers was trying to take control,
everything.
and they said, no, we know what we're doing. We're a good organization, been good for years. We like to win.
The Jets were just like,
we'll take
Aaron Rodgers.
And
we
the
need
Jets,
anything we
they're
can
just like,
get.
we're desperate. And all the New Yorkers like, we're from New York. We deserve better. Go watch your Yankees lose the World Series.
The New Jersey.
No.
I hope they get swept tonight.
I do too. They play tonight.
Awesome.
But yeah, they don't play
New Jersey.
There's only one team that plays the state of New York, by the way.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, they did what the Packers wouldn't do. Look at the Packers since they got rid of Rodgers.
They look phenomenal.
Yeah. They look great. And the Jets, again, they let Rodgers take over, basically the franchise, and look at where they are now.
2-6 versus
Now I'll say
6-2.
we talked about in the last video. We did not expect the Jets to be this bad, but I did think there was too high of expectations for them.
I agree.
I didn't pick them as a playoff team. I know you guys did, but like.
Well, one of the reasons behind my pick was also, not just the fact that I thought the Jets, I didn't think they were going to be this amazing, phenomenal team. I also thought the Bills weren't going to be quite as good as they have been. So a combination of the Jets have been so bad and the Bills have been so good really just completely flipped the script.
Well, and I'll say a lot of it, too, goes back to culture. The Bills, despite what we lost, we have that culture now established with our leadership. Same with the team like the Packers. The Lions, while they have been bad in the past, finally have gotten some culture. And look what they're doing.
The Jets are just like
the Jets. Yeah,
that's
the thing. There's the teams. We talked about the Panthers in the last video.
They've started so many quarterbacks in the past 10 years. I mean, their coaching's all over the place. They don't like who's the last player when you think of the Jets as that player's team? Like
Well, we talked about before, too. Look at Sam Darnold. Look at Geno Smith, who were drafted by the Jets and have now gone on and done well in better situations. So the Jets, it's sad to say the 40-year-old injured quarterback was not the answer, and you're still the Jets. So, and Devontae Adams, just a couple weeks ago, it was the same day when we traded for Cooper and you guys got Adams. It's still, all the talk is about Adams, and look what it's... So, there's that. So, and now let's go on to the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins were actually good last year. They were a playoff team. They had that 70-point game last year. They were looking awesome. But again, they choked the division. They had the division lead. They choked it to us. We beat them twice last year, and they just fell apart. They lost to the Chiefs and wild card. Didn't even look great at all. We talked about in the last video when Tua's out or they are not in perfect conditions against a bad team. They have not performed good.
They have a very high ceiling and a middle of the road floor.
Yeah.
And you don't know where they're going to be at in that spectrum week to week.
And I've talked about, too, with Tua's concussion history and his injury history, you can't rely on him to be healthy. And even when he has played this year, they still haven't looked great.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, that too.
I would not be surprised if he does not decide to. I don't think he'll want to, but I think they might make him.
He's not gonna last.
Yeah, well, he himself. It may be I don't want to get political. Maybe a Joe Biden situation where it's like he doesn't want to leave, but they're gonna kind of force him out. So I don't know, but he definitely doesn't want to leave. But the Dolphins, again, if you remember last year when they had that 70-point game against a Broncos team at the time, which was bad, we still the next week ended up beating them by 30.
Look at how they looked when Tua was gone. You can't bank your whole team on a guy who, if he goes out, your whole team is falls apart.
Yeah.
You have no one to back
We have to have a good backup.
He's so injury prone, which we've talked about a ton with Tua. Every year, we're always like, if Tua can stay healthy, the Dolphins will be good.
Well, he's still like, are you wearing a guardian cap? No. Are you going to care about not taking heads?
No.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny, too, this last game when he came back, the loudest the Dolphins fans cheered was when Tua slid.
Yeah, because he slid instead of running into somebody.
So, and even back to the Packers conversation, remember when Rodgers still there and they drafted Jordan Love, and the whole meeting was like, why did they draft Jordan Love? Because it's important to have a good backup and grow a guy. Like, give him...
Well, speaking of good backups, we want to segue a little bit over to my team. Our offseason backup quarterback pickup, Marcus Mariota.
He stepped in.
And threw for 250 yards.
Now, while Jaden Daniels as a rookie and like Stroud last year have jumped in and done phenomenal. You can't always expect that out of a rookie.
No.
So,
like the value of having a good backup, when you don't need them, you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
But when you need them, having a good backup is the most valuable thing you can have.
And so there's some organizations that know how to get the best out of guys and kind of go into that next round. Like Green Bay again, they went from Favre and had Rodgers and now Love. They've done it well, and the Jets have kind of and the Dolphins have kind of done the opposite, and that's been their issue. And so, as a Bills fan,
you're probably loving it.
It's awesome because not only is our team done above the media's and everyone else's expectations, we're still one of the top teams in the AFC. Now, again, we're gonna have to meet the Chiefs later on in the year, but just to see the rest of the division that had such high expectations tank like this, I mean, I still expected my team to win the division, but I didn't expect them to be this bad. It's honestly hilarious.
I had it as a 3 playoff division.
Yeah, you did. You had the Dolphins and Jets as the wild card team.
So, I mean,
I think there was a lot.
I thought it was going to be way more competitive.
So I honestly find that funny, and even Stephon Diggs, that whole situation. Now that he's hurt, the Texans are still a good team. I love Stroud, but just. The Diggs situation.
Hard for them to be as good with
it's just kind of funny because Diggs is, while he's a great player, yes, he's been kind of, he's caused some, because he did in Minnesota before we got him too. It's been a track record of him doing this.
Drama. Well, he's good.
Yes, he's not good in the locker room. And so we finally got rid of him, and they're like, oh, this is going to hurt the Bills, which we found ways to replace and make up for it. And now in his new team, he's done decent, but and the Texans are a good team. But now that he's out, so
honestly, it's kind of worked out in your favor though. Even if obviously getting rid of a receiver like him is going to hurt. You are weaker at the receiver position, but it's the defense is spread out more amongst all your receivers. You don't have one main target, so all your receivers are kind of the same skill level.
You're right.
So
everyone,
actually, you can spread the ball around.
Instead of having to feed a star,
Allen is spread the ball around. Defenses don't know who to guard more, and everyone's. I mean, people stepped up when they're open. Like, you guys have looked really good, and I think that's what a lot of people missed was the fact that you don't have any star receiver, but what receiver do you have that's really bad?
Yeah, in a way, it's a good thing because now we have a bunch of weapons that the defense doesn't key in on one player.
No great phenomenal guy, but they're all decent.
We have two good tight ends. We have. Coleman as a rookie who no one knew what to expect. We just got Cooper. Shakir's a great slot receiver. Even Matt Collins has come in his first year and made some plays here and there. And we got a good running game now, too, with Cook and then the rookie Ray Davis. So, I mean, and despite the losses and injuries defensively, we've looked great. And by the way, we're only going to get healthier as the season goes on defensively, too.
This is going to get better.
So that's kind of it for my team. I'm loving it so far. Now we still got a lot of season to go, but so far it is going great for us.
For you. And if anything, I think it might have been going even better for my team.
Yeah, now let's go to your team. Yeah, it's been phenomenal.
We'll kind of start off with the same thing that you did for your team and go over like off-season moves.
Yes.
I'm not going to go over who left because
so many people left.
I'm just going to go over some of the big pickups, especially the stuff that people thought were bad moves. Like, for instance, we went out and these were all free agent signings. I don't believe we traded for any of these guys. We got Austin Eckler, Zach Ertz, Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, like all of those guys. Frankie Louvu isn't an old guy. Frankie Louvu was just a good player.
Yeah,
that was a good pickup. Nobody was really upset about that. Zach Ertz, people are like, oh, he's washed.
Yeah,
Zach Ertz right now, if you had to pick, he's a top 8 tight end.
Yeah, he has
been amazing. He's looked phenomenal.
Revitalized his career.
I think he's top 4 in tight end touchdowns. Like, he's been great. Probably. Austin Eckler, people said he was washed.
He was great.
He's looked phenomenal. He's moved into a different role. He's no longer the main carry back. He's not getting all the touchdowns. He's splitting his carries.
Which I think helps him.
He's splitting his carries with Brian Robinson, and we have a top 3 run offense in the NFL.
Well, if you remember, they were almost his last couple of years in LA with the Chargers. He was not staying on the field because he was getting so many carries to get hit.
Yeah, because they're making him carry it like a million times a game.
That's not sustainable throughout the season.
It's not.
So now that he's splitting carries with Robinson, it's gonna helped him a lot. Yeah.
And we can put him back in there. Austin Eckler's a great receiving back.
He is.
And he's still good at that. That doesn't take as much effort as being a normal running back.
He's so hard to tackle. I mean, he's strong,
he's so
too.
elusive. And then look at Bobby Wagner. I mean, he's another one of those guys. He is a Hall of Famer. If he retired today, he would go in the Hall of Fame.
First of all,
I think he's he's top 5 in tackles in the league.
He is an older guy. Last guy in the league, still from the Legion of Boom in Seattle. But just look at him. He doesn't look as old as he is. Still fantastic.
So good.
He's fantastic shape.
Phenomenal.
You want to talk about strong? Bobby Wagner. He's a great tackler, as you mentioned. And great addition for you. Bobby Wagner's he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu put our linebacker core in the top 5.
Yeah.
It's insane how well they've been playing. And then, look at our draft. This might be the best draft class for one single team, maybe ever.
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard of a team hitting Jaden Daniels, first of all. I mean, people have talked about him enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all know.
In the last video, we talked he's almost
he's
a lock for
rookie of the year. I mean, he could miss
MVP,
5 games.
maybe.
Well, he's in that conversation.
Top 5 in the MVP conversation. And you look, we picked up Luke McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's brother. Mm-hmm. He's been a great pickup at wide receiver for us. He's looked phenomenal. And then we also picked up, what's the guy's name? Our left tackle, Brandon Coleman. We moved him to left tackle, and he started every game. He got injured the last couple, so he hasn't been in. But the games he started, he's been a fantastic left tackle, and he looks almost like a Pro Bowl left tackle as a rookie.
Yeah.
To hit on your quarterback and your left tackle, arguably the 2 most important offensive positions in the game in one draft, is insane.
And that's been a game changer. I mean,
our O-line went from the worst in the league to the best.
Yes.
We have arguably the best offensive line in the game.
And so this 1-year turnaround, as we talked about, which is so hard, we kind of saw the Texans do it last year, but this may be the most impressive.
It's crazy, the turnaround. Well, and then our center, Sam, I think Sam Cosme's our center, or is he a guard? I can't remember who our center is. He just says guard. I don't remember what his name is. Our center was the backup center on the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. And he's now our starting center, obviously. He's been playing phenomenal. Yeah. Our whole O-line has been phenomenal.
Well, another thing that you haven't even mentioned is the coaching staff changes
It's completely different. We have new head coach, new D coordinator, offensive coordinator, new owner, new GM, new assistant GM.
Yeah.
The whole team is completely different.
Yes.
And we haven't been 6-2 since 2008.
Well, think about this. Dan Quinn, your guys' new head coach, as head coach experience, went to Super Bowl with Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Cliff Kingsbury, your guys' offensive coordinator, was a head coach in Arizona and is a great offensive mind.
Oh yeah.
And your defense has stepped up. The ownership has been a huge change, been a huge thing.
Phenomenal.
And then with the additions you guys got,
it's just insane.
I think that's what more of these bad teams need to consider, is changing their coaches and their ownership and stuff. Because
I've been a fan of the team since 2019, which isn't very long.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the start of the end of the Dan Snyder era, as far as people could tell things were going so poorly. At this point, it's not going to work out. He's going to sell eventually. That's whether he does it willingly or they make him. And just the culture change from then to now. I remember we drafted Chase Young that year, which is mainly the reason why I'm a fan, which is funny because now he sucks.
Yeah, and he's not there. But well, McLaurin too.
McLaurin's phenomenal.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about him.
Yeah, he's now top 5 in the league in receiving yards this year. I think he's on track for 1,200 yards or 1,300 yards. It's going to be a career high, his 5th 1,000-yard receiving season in a row with his 9th starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Yeah.
It's just nuts. But the biggest thing is the culture shift in the team. That you knew, the team would make moves to make it look like they were trying, but they weren't truly trying. They'd go pick up, they would have went and picked up Bobby Wagner, and he wouldn't have done anything because the scheme wouldn't have fit him. They wouldn't have played him how he needed to be played. Or Austin Eckler. Well, they would have picked up Austin Eckler and ran him full time.
Well, and this goes back to, we kind of talked about with the Lions, how they know how to use the pieces they got. Talent isn't everything. It's all about
coaching is huge.
It's all about knowing how to use your players, and also we go back to what we talked about with Diggs, getting guys that fit even the lot. You know, it's one
Locker
thing.
Room vibe is huge.
It's one thing to build a Madden team of all stars, Pro Bowl. Yeah, exactly. Know? But for those guys to actually mesh as a team.
Well, that's a great example
that's
of something we did this offseason. Jahan Dotson played pretty well for us last year. He was, I think he had 700 receiving yards, and it was his second year, I believe.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, okay, he's looking like a good potential number 2 wide receiver. We traded him for a 3rd-round pick in
Philadelphia.
The second preseason week or something before the season, a little before, to Philadelphia. And people were mad. I think he's had 4 catches for 16 yards for the Eagles.
Well,
and we traded him, and it's come out after he got traded and stuff. He was kind of a locker room issue. And look how it's worked out. We opened it up for Luke McCaffrey to come in, for some of these, Noah Brown, De'Ami Brown, these guys who have had potential in the past. They fit the locker room well, but they haven't put up good numbers. Well, now they're putting up good numbers, and our team meshes so well that it doesn't matter. There's no more of that, throw me the ball, I need more yards. Nobody cares. They just want to win, which we're doing. We're 6-2.
And that's the thing is, what's interesting with the NFC East, too, is kind of the moves that have been made within the division. Because we talked about Saquon with the Eagles, was a Giant now with the Eagles. That trade, Dotson now with the Eagles. Noah Brown, I think, was with the Cowboys. He's now come over.
I think it was the Texans, actually.
He may have. Well, he was with the Cowboys, and I think he was with the Texans last year. Yeah, I think he was with both. Now he's with So, but there's been all those moves, and it's worked out for you guys. And as far as the Eagles, they're one of those teams that are talented, and they're right there at the top with you guys in the division. But
which is not
the thing that I know, the thing that actually I think you guys have the advantage of over the Eagles is coaching, is locker room vibes. The Eagles, while they've won
they've had a lot of
fishy about the Eagles still.
Stuff. There's still rumors, even though they're 5-2. There's still rumors that they're going to fire their head coach.
And I think the biggest difference for the Eagles now we talked about is Saquon, because if it wasn't for them or for him, the Eagles are kind of, and then the Cowboys. The Cowboys have a lot of talent, but
fallen apart. I don't know if it's locker room drama.
They spent all the money on Prescott at the beginning of the year, and it's just, it's not quite working out. And so it's very similar in your guys' division as far as all of that talk was Eagles, Cowboys, and there you guys are now. Up there,
like you said, it comes down to coaching and stuff like that. Dan Quinn's right now, arguably, I would say, number 1 candidate for coach of the year.
Yeah,
it was the Vikings. They've lost 2 games since then. I believe now he's that number 1 candidate for that. And honestly, I even thought it was before. I mean, you take a team that was 4-12 last year, or not 4. Was it 4-12?
Yeah, 4-13. Because they have 17 games now. Yeah,
we're already 6-2.
Yeah,
our preseason projected win total was 4. Already beat that. We could lose every game for the rest of the year, and we still would have been at a better season than people thought we would.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about at the midway point. But it's not always easy to get a owner out because they obviously own the team. But ownership.
Yeah, when the team gets sold for over $6 billion, there's a lot of things I'd sell for $6 billion.
The thing is, though, is culture starts at the top. The teams that have had good, solid ownership from the top, then obviously goes down, are the teams that have been successful. Now we talked about the Jets. That's been a mess. There's other teams.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why the Green Bay Packers are always consistently good, because they don't have a traditional owner. They are technically owned by the fans.
And
you can go out and buy a portion of ownership in the Packers.
And I gotta say, the Packers have done things. They know what they've done things the right way. And that as far as ownership goes, that's very obviously they're the only team that does that. But still, they obviously know what they're doing. And for the Commanders, with the ownership change and this culture change,
it made me so happy because there was a lot of rumors of who was going to buy the team before the people who bought it did. And it was this random billionaire from Canada, and one of them was Jeff Bezos and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, the guy that bought it, I'm brain farting on his name.
I couldn't tell you.
But he's the owner of the 76ers.
Yeah.
And the 76ers are a good basketball team. And if, knowing that they're a good team with a good culture, that a winning culture, because they're a good team, and it's a guy who has been in other sports before, because a lot of problem is you get these guys that have no idea.
They're rich guys,
sports,
but yes.
They just have money. So they think they can just throw money at it and fix the problem. Which, like the Panthers, for instance. The Panthers now are owned by David Tepper, who's a horrible owner. But he's never owned a sports team. He has no idea. He just throws money at the problem. And that never fixes it. So it's nice, knowing that ownership is fixed. I've never had more confidence in my team. Even if we would have went 4-13 this year,
there's a lot more hope.
I was still excited because it's like, the future's bright, and we've never had the future's bright. Now it's even brighter. We have a rookie quarterback, and we're the number 2 seed in the NFC.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And I kind of know how that is as a Bills fan. I think it's been a decade now, which is insane. When our founder and owner passed away, and ownership had to change. I think it was 2014, and there was a lot of talks of who's going to buy. And the big thing too is in a small market like Buffalo, it's like you're worried about are they going to go somewhere else? And so I know there was a couple names in there about who was going to. I mean, I think even Donald Trump was one at the time before he ran for president about maybe.
Would that have been nuts if he
crazy.
Buy the man?
And then there was I forget who the other name. Anyway, the Pagulas who ended up buying the team already owned the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo. They wanted to keep the team there, which is awesome. And now, obviously, building that news. I know there's been some things about the stadium deal and all that, but either way, we're keeping the team in Western New York, which is awesome. And now we see this culture change. Yeah. What they've brought in has been awesome with Brandon Beane, our GM, Sean McDermott, the coach, and there's. Things haven't been perfect. Yes, we haven't won the Super Bowl yet, but we're in the mix every year. And what they've done, even though we don't agree on everything. I mean, every owner is going to have things where not all the fans are going to. But either way, they've done a lot better than I think a lot of other people that could have bought the team did. And so seeing that change in the last decade and now going from they bought the team during our playoff drought to now consistently being atop of the AFC or winning the East.
I mean, you're being like there's always people every year saying that you are going to win the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Like to be in those predictions is a win.
Pretty much right after the new ownership change, and obviously when we got
it was like
it was
a shift. Well, because let's see, it was
just like with you with the new ownership and Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it was 2014 when they bought the team, but I forget. It was still a couple, but still, it was not.
Like,
they kind of were building
15, 16, 17 before it was really like, oh wow, the Bills are completely different.
But still, I totally know what it is to have that ownership change, and not that Ralph Wilson was a bad owner, but
I mean, you can make some Super Bowls.
It just there were some things, but and obviously he was just unfortunately passed away.
Well, that's one thing that would never really worry me about the Commanders is given our market, like. You may think that the Commanders aren't or Washington is not a very big market, but it's just because the team sucked.
Yeah.
In the 80s and 90s, the Commanders were the team in the country.
Well,
they were behind the Cowboys. They were America's team.
Well, and the unfortunate thing is not only just the Washington D.C., which has a fan base, it certainly does.
Huge.
But the other thing is with the controversy with the name change and all that didn't help you guys either.
It didn't.
And the bad ownership.
Yeah, bad ownership. Well, I mean, he was getting sued all the time. He didn't take care of the stadium. I mean, remember a couple games ago, a sewage pipe burst in the locker room? You can't have
also,
that.
didn't one of the stands by the tunnels, fans were trying to reach over to high five the players
and
it broke and fans fell on. So it's stuff like that.
It's bad. It's a joke. But now we don't have that, and it's great. And the Commanders are amazing. Jaden Daniels is amazing. Jaden Daniels is going to win MVP. If he wins MVP, I don't know what I'm going to do. I should put some money on that.
Hey, I personally think Josh Allen MVP, Jaden Daniels Rookie of the Year.
I'm not even questioning Rookie of the Year.
I actually think it's in between those two, though. Really, to be
honest. Well,
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson's in there. Because Mahomes should not be. Yeah.
No. What is even his stats? He's bad.
He has 2 or 3 more interceptions.
By the way, while you're looking that up, I want to say this: MVP should be a personal accomplishment. It's not a team thing. Just because the Chiefs are undefeated.
Yeah, it's most valuable player. Well,
it should be
most valuable player
on a good team. Yeah. This is what it should be. If you took the player that if you took them off their team,
How
would
would
hurt the worst with them off their team.
It'd have to be either Allen or Daniels.
That's the thing.
So
look at this.
Because I think the Ravens have more weapons.
They do.
If the Jacksons
they got
out.
especially with Henry now. Yeah, I mean,
So it's Daniels.
Yeah,
and
like
Allen.
look at this. He has 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
Yeah.
And he's 16th in yards. Like Jaden Daniels has better stats than this.
But yeah, I think while you're doing that, I think ownership is a huge thing in professional sports, and culture is a huge thing. Talent is not everything, and that's the one thing with New York, with the Jets, the Giants, even we've seen with the Knicks and Nets in the NBA.
Yeah.
They have the money to get the guys, but talent does not win you championships.
It does not. Yeah. Well, like you said with the Nets. Like
they had. How many times have they made big moves to get this super team together?
Well, they arguably had together the best team of all time that absolutely sucked. Which goes back to, like we said, it doesn't, like, the money doesn't always.
Well, remember when they pretty early on when they first moved to Brooklyn, they had they had Paul Pierce, Kevin, some of those guys from the Celtics. They had a couple other guys. They went all in. It fell apart. Then just a couple years ago, they got Durant, Kyrie. They got it was Harden. They got Harden, and it fell apart. So again, talent doesn't win you championships, and so that's for all sports. And so I mean, even like I said a little in the last year or this? I think it was this year. Yeah, I was talking about the Jets, about the Yankees. Now they made it to the World Series, but even with all the talent,
right now?
That's a good question.
I want to see if they got swept, because that would be the best.
It's probably not over with yet.
Yeah, I think it's
probably going on. But anyway, they're a game away from losing tonight, and they made it there. They got all the talent, but it doesn't mean you're going to win championships. So
no.
Well, the Yankees are winning right now, but the Dodgers.
It's a one-run game.
2 in the fifth.
It's a game. So
we'll see.
Anyway, that's the thing is with this.
Yeah, anyway, unrelated at all.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
it kind of is
sort
as far as
because we all hate the Yankees.
Well, it's as far as large market teams, small market teams. You know, the large again, like the Cowboys
money
and something. Yes,
money,
that's what I'm trying to get at. And so, especially in baseball, with
baseball is such a weird sport. As far as money,
but again, we're talking football here.
Yeah, anyway. To reel it back in, you know, I think the biggest gist of the story is, like, with both of our teams, it's like, it's not just a money and name sport. Like, the Commanders, if you would have said who was on the team last year, like, if you took all the names this year that are on the roster and looked at them last year, you'd be like, oh, that's probably a 4 or 5 win team.
Yeah.
We're 6-2.
Exactly.
When
again, at the beginning of this,
we have the best offensive league.
And again, at the beginning of this video, I broke down what the narratives were for my team before the season, and we're 6-2. And other than the Green Bay Packers, are also a great franchise. We're probably one of the smallest market teams in the league, and we've had, other than our playoff drought there, for the most part, in our franchise history, even though we haven't won a Super Bowl, we've been good and competitive, and that's just goes to. Again, ownership, just the culture, and that's the thing too. When you're in a smaller market team like Buffalo, Green Bay, even though you don't have as many people maybe in your market, the fans, because you're a small market team, the fans really
they're so dedicated.
They're dedicated.
Well, and then teams like mine, where it's a big market team that's just sucked forever. All the fans are real fans.
Yes.
Because they suck forever.
And that's true too. And where you guys are at, even though you're in a big market, you're close enough to Philadelphia, Baltimore, where there's other good.
I think it's 15 miles to Baltimore Stadium.
That's the thing. So you guys got your fans in your area have other close options of teams that have been better. So that's part of it.
If the team has sucked for 30 years, they're probably going to go like the team that's 10 minutes away.
Exactly. So, and that's even the thing with these big market teams. Some of these markets are so big they got multiple teams. Like New York's got multiple teams in every sport. LA's got multiple teams, and so Buffalo, that's it. You got hockey, which they haven't been good. But other than that, it's Green Bay football. That's it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it is. So
anyway, to kind of reel it back in, that's our crazy tangent
on our teams,
for the season sort of so far.
In recap, though, we are loving where our teams are at
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh, I could
and
not
we are
be
so
happier.
excited. So,
So I was getting. I almost bought Super Bowl tickets already.
I'll say that. It would be awesome if our team.
Dude, that'd be
it
the
can
best
happen.
thing.
Hey,
We'd have to go. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd have to remortgage my house, but it'd be worth it. You know. I'll take out a loan.
but
150
anyway,
yard line tickets. I'll sell my house and take. You know. Can you sell your house and still take out a mortgage against it? Is that how that works? We'll do that.
we'll
I
think
need
about
a
it after the
200
fact.
Yeah, $200,000 ought to get us some nice seats.
But anyway, we're
You know.
happy. Our teams are in a good spot. Great culture, great team, and great position standings wise. And we'll see how we do the rest
Let's
of the
hope
season.
I'm this happy at the end
Hey,
of the season.
it's looking good so far. So
Yeah.
that's kind of our rant. But with that, we will
All
see
right.
you guys in the next video.